Welcome back to Scale Out a Guy's Workbench. Today we're working on a kit that I bought from Ollie's. It's been a couple months now, and they had a ton of these at the store. Last time I was over there at my local Ollie's, all they had was the 82 Corvette. It seems like nobody wants that kit for whatever reason. It went together really well. I built it not too long ago. If you guys have been watching my channel for any length of time, you've seen it. I did it in Krylon red pepper. So yeah, that turned out very well. So today we're building this Monogram Lamborghini Diablo VT. This kit has 84 parts. It seems like it should have more than that, but if you looked at the stack of styrene, which I'm going to show you here in a second, you'll see it looks like there's more than 84 parts there, but, well, let me show you. Let's start off with the body. First of all, this body is really nice, crisp, clean, shiny. The only mold lines that I saw on the entire kit was right here in the corners where that front spoiler wraps around, right there in the corner. That's the only mold lines on this entire body. This thing looks really super nice. And it's not, it doesn't feel cheap. Yeah, I can twist it, but it's feels like a thicker plastic, a heavier plastic. So good on you, Monogram, for that car body. So your first styrene tree, got your wheel backs and axles, some suspension parts. Next up is your interior parts, your seats, dash, your front. I'm guessing that's going to be on the, it's either the front end or part of the suspension or engine cradle maybe, I don't know. Some engine parts over here. Next up is your interior tub. This probably goes in back into your engine compartment, that's what I'm guessing. Now, if you look at this tree, you'll see that it's got a horrible bend in the tree, and it looks like there's a slight twist in that frame. So we're going to be doing some straightening right there. Yeah, that's got a slight twist to it. But that's not the worst of it. The next one is your chassis and some body parts firewall. If you look again, you see the bend. It's also got this lower control arm is sticking up in the air a little bit, so we're going to have to warm that up and straighten it out. It was looking so good until I got to those two part trees, and then, well, it all kind of went downhill from there. Should I say typical Monogram? Some of you guys out there might agree with that. To me, it's just a typical model kit. They can all do it, even Revell or Tamiya. It's rare for Tamiya, but yeah, Aoshima. That's another one. Rare, but it does happen. It is, after all, melted plastic going into a mold, so anything could happen. So next up is your chrome tree. Now here's a sticking point for me. Why did they put the engine block in chrome? I could see the intake being in chrome, because on the 1.1 car, it's the one that I saw was gold plated. I did do a little research on it. It was gold plated. But why they did the engine block and transmission in chrome, that's anybody's guess. Next up is your 4 solid rubber tires, or vinyl tires I should say. They're kind of squishy, but not real squishy. They're kind of firm. No name brand. Nice tread pattern on them though. I don't know if that's focusing. Can you see that? Yeah, there we go. Next up is your glass. It's all one piece, including the rear window. It's all one piece. It just pops in there. You got some turn signal lenses and side marker lights, and your little lights in the front end here are in here. And as usual, I don't take that out of the plastic until I'm ready for it. Last for the plastic is your tail lights. Just two of them. Excuse me. On the Diablo taillights, the inside ones are red, the outside ones are amber, and on the clear parts tree they give you two clear lenses, but those are supposed to be amber. Last up for the kit is the installation, listen to me, I've been building stuff too much this week. It's your assembly instructions and your decal sheet. It does give you dash decals, two different sets if you want to go with white on black or black on black. Gives you a couple different license plates, wheel centers, engine logos and body logos. I was wondering where the decal sheet was. I had been looking for it, and oh yeah, that's part of that piece that I was wondering about. That goes on the front end. So, or no, on the back end. I'm sorry, this is the rear engine car. It goes on the back end. So yeah, chrome engine though. I just don't know. Just don't know. I guess I'll come up with something on that. Well, there you go. There's all the parts and pieces for this Monogram Lamborghini Diablo VT. There's not a whole lot of sub-assembly that needs to be done. Let me knock that out. We'll head over to the paint booth, throw down some primer. Oh, one more thing I was going to share with you. Now, these cars mostly are famous for being red or yellow or black. But did you know that the Lamborghini Diablo came in about 12 different colors or somewhere in that number? I don't remember. I didn't count them all, but there was quite a few different colors. And one that caught my eye was the rose gold. Now, this isn't exactly the color that I saw, but it's close enough. The rose gold is close enough to the color that I saw on the color chart that I looked up. So I'm going to use this Krylon rose gold for the paint on this car. Make it somewhat unique, not just a red, yellow, or black. But they did come in a couple of different shades of blue, some silvers, like a charcoal gray or something like that. It was like 12 or 15 different colors, something in that range. But this one's going to be rose gold. All right, let's do the thing. We'll get over to the paint booth, shoot some primer, and start this build. So I'll see you over there.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alright fellas, I got the engine partially assembled. It's not fully assembled. The cylinder heads are a little bit tricky to put on. I don't know if you're going to be able to see these or not. Let me adjust my light here a little bit. There's a little lip on the side of the engine block that this kind of locks on. So you got to put it on and roll it over onto the pins almost at the same time. It's a little tricky, but they go on opposite pins, obviously. Now, on the front of the engine here, at the top there's a little tab right in the top area here. Right in this area here, and that tab sticks out from this part here but will not clear this part of the cylinder head. So I had to snip it off just to get that to kind of sit in there flush the way it's supposed to go. And that's where we're at on that. Now the direction sheet, moving on to this, the direction sheet shows this part here. This is part 13. It initially shows it, oh, Carpet Monster got that. The direction sheet shows it going into this area, which didn't make any sense to me. But in the next scene that they give you, in part 2 here, it shows it in this location, which makes more sense. So I've got the paint cleared off on both of these pieces, so that'll fit down in this area here. You may have to open up the holes a little bit. I did, and I still have to open it up just a little bit further, but that part sits in there just like that. Now the axle, now this was a little tricky to me. Now I'm not fully completed with the engine. The engine mounts are still, the paint's still drying on them, and they go in these little slots here on each side of the engine, here and here. So, and then they lock in to the holes here and here. But this pin back here goes, come on, get it in there. There we go. Just like that. Now, if you notice, this axle, one side is a little bit longer than the other, like normal CV axles on cars. Short side, short end goes over here. Now what I didn't understand is, and they don't show it very well in the direction sheet, is how this axle sits down into those hubs. Now imagine if I had the engine mounts on this, that would correct the position for the engine, and then that would tell me where these go. And it seems like this part of the CV axle right here and right here is what rides right here and right here. So I'm just going to kind of place it in there for right now, and we're waiting for the paint to dry on those parts, and as soon as the paint is dry, I'll go ahead and fully assemble that, and then we're on to the next part. Also, the exhaust pipes are drying too, so I'll be right back with that. Alright fellas, there is a certain order of things that you should do when you're putting the engine in this. First of all, they don't show you putting the belt pulley system on until the second part of step 2, and that goes on the front of the engine here, obviously. You want to put that on, it shows you putting it on after the engine is installed, but I would recommend putting that on the engine before you put the engine in the frame, because afterwards it makes it very difficult to get it in there. Now the alternator here, this goes to hold the axle in the, I guess you'd call that a transmission. But put the belt system on, put the axle in, then put this part on, then put the exhaust system on. Now I don't know if this is right or not, with this one being that much higher than this one is. We're going to go with that for right now. I tried fitting it under the axles, but when you do that, it lifts the axle up too high. And if you look in the pictures, it shows the pipe going over the axle. So again, we're going to go with that. The front axle, again, to reiterate, this part goes here, not here. Does not go on these pins. It goes on those pins back there. This just sits in there for right now. I can just lift that out if I want. That just sits in there just like that. Now I did scrape the paint off of there just so I could visualize how that sits in there a little bit better, and it will promote wheel spin. If there's paint there, like I didn't clean the paint off back here, and I probably should have, but it's too late now. So we're to this part here. Now the next part shows the floor pan and everything going in the interior tub, I should say. I need to do some paint work on that, but if you remember in the intro, this was all kind of twisted, and I have kind of bent on it a little bit and got it somewhat straight, but I'm going to have to put this on here and glue and clamp everything. Otherwise it's not going to match up, not the way I need it to match up anyway. So there are 2 alignment pins here and here that go to the holes in the floor, so that'll help get this aligned. This kit kind of reminds me of a snap together, actually, and it probably was at one point in time. You know, they have a penchant for not listing that it's a snap together kit. I don't know what the phobia is against that, but former snap together kits, and they're not even listing them as snap together kits. It's a shame. I guess they're afraid that people won't buy it if they, you know, because some guys don't like snap-togethers and others don't mind them. I don't care either way. But yeah, that, you see, that's kind of not wanting to stay in there, and well, we're going to have to straighten that all out. It's still got a bend to it if you look at it. I did my best to straighten it, but as they say, it is what it is. Okay, let me get some paint work done on this. I still got to do the doors here. I only got the black part painted on this, and the rest of the interior I think is supposed to be like a body color. Don't know for sure. I'm gonna have to look at that, and we'll get on to the next step. Okay, fellas, like I said, I was gonna have to clamp everything in place. I did put a little bit of glue in the middle here. I'm having a little trouble with this because I don't have a clamp that'll go here, but because of that little bit of a bow in there, that's making so that the center doesn't want to stick down real well. But I do have the clamps on all 4 wheels, and that should be sufficient. I did do a little interior painting as well as the dash. Still got to do the door panels though. I forgot about those. I'll get those in just a little bit. So far so good. Like I said, I believe this is more of a snap together kit than what they would lead you to believe on the box. Everything kind of just snaps together. But anyway, enough of that. Let me get the door panels painted up, and then we're on to the next step. All right, fellas, I got the clamps off the wheels. They seem to be holding pretty well. The bow in the chassis is still slightly there, but it's not as bad as it was. There is still kind of a twist to it, but whatever. Can only do so much. Alright, so let's finish up this front end part. You have your brake pedal, clutch, and shocks. They just sit in that little trap right there. And then this part goes over and just glues down there. Got 4 attachment points. Well, actually 3. No, 4, 5. 2 here, 2 here, 1 there. Gotta learn how to count. Alright, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here, set it in that little trough. I'm not going to put a whole lot because it's actually kind of, it's actually kind of held in place by the inner fender assembly there. So that sits down flush. These little areas that poke up, they come up through these little elongated holes on the top. So for here, I'm just going to put just a touch of glue on each little anchor point. A little bit more on that one. I keep banging this camera. I got it in the wrong spot. Okay, I'm just going to throw a couple clamps on this just to hold it in place, because I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that staying stuck down right there in the front end. Starting to come together. Now the back end, I went ahead and I've already glued these two pieces in place. It's pretty self-explanatory on how those go in there. And then that just sits down over that, but you have to put the shocks in there. And this is where it gets a little funny, because in the direction sheet it doesn't really clearly show you, but they go in here and they sit out at an angle like that. So when you put it on, they go down between the control arms here, and they go down and sit on the bottom, on the lower control arms. So I'm going to reposition this camera, and we'll get on with the rest of this. Hold on just a second. Okay, that's a bit better. Now that I have that camera repositioned, I can actually sit up and do some work. I kept banging my head on it. Of course, you guys got to see that. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue on the ends. Fit it in there. These kind of fit in here kind of weird. I guess that's about the way it's supposed to go. Something in that neighborhood. I guess the trick is to put this all together before the glue sets, so you can move those around. Seems how these are the only two attachment points I can see for this right at the moment. I'm just going to put a couple of little drops of glue on there. There we go. And of course the shocks didn't go the way they were supposed to. Should have known that they weren't going to. So you gotta kind of work them. Alright. I'm sorry if you guys can't see. I'm trying to keep it in camera, but there we go. You just kind of have to work them down through those holes while fighting the exhaust system and everything else. Now, the shocks come down here, like I said, to the lower control arms. I think I'll put just a little dab of glue on each one of these aft shocks, and hopefully that'll keep that in place. I'm probably going to have to weight it down. Glob. No glob. a little bit more of a glob on there than I wanted to. I don't know if the clamp will help me out here or not. I suppose that I could have attached it back here as well with a little bit of glue. Yeah, they're not going to open up far enough. I'm just going to put some weight on it. That's why I like these giant bottles of paint. Weight stuff down and wait for the glue to dry. Okay, we still have the rest of the interior to do. I got to put some clear coat on the body, and the next step is actually the interior, but I got to clear coat the body, so we'll do that here in just a second, and then we'll get back on the interior. Welcome to the final on this Lamborghini Diablo VT by Monogram. Well, I usually stay away from the European cars, but this one caught my eye. And at the price that Ollie's was asking for it, well, that didn't help. So throughout this video, I had mentioned that I thought that this kit was a snap together, or at least a former snap together. It turns out that I was correct. Based on a little bit of investigative work that I've done, the Revell version of this kit goes all the way back to 1991. Over the years, this has been offered as a Revell kit, and for a short while it was a Revell Monogram kit, all the way up to what we have here, just a Monogram kit. This particular iteration was produced in 2022, but previous editions of this Monogram kit featured a red car on the box instead of an orange car. So let's talk about this build. At 84 parts, it screams snap together, but when you get it finished, it looks every bit of the part of a glue-up kit. Though I did use glue throughout its build, I wanted to make sure that it would stay together. Now, most of the car went together fairly easy, but the rear suspension was a real bugger to go together correctly, and I showed you guys that on the video. The slight warp in the chassis, well, that led to a host of issues on final assembly. And if I would have shot video of that, you wouldn't be sitting through the final right now. The issues that I was having was partially from the intake manifold, including the engine compartment walls. It took me almost an hour to straighten out all of the issues to get the body to sit down on the chassis. The main culprit was located just forward of the driver's side rear wheel. Just if you looked inside the wheel well, the little lug that the engine mounts to on the chassis, well, the inner wall for the engine compartment was hanging up on the top of that, and I couldn't get that. Well, at first I didn't even see it because of its location, and then once I figured it out, I kind of went up there, kind of pried it over a little bit, and the body's just dropped right down onto the chassis. But it took me a while to figure out why the body wasn't going all the way down like it should. Like I said, it was difficult to see because the tire was partially obscuring it. So once I figured all that out, yeah, it was it went down pretty easy. Only the warp prevents this the body from sitting fully down on the chassis, and you can see that pretty visibly on the driver's side. No matter what I did, I could not get that to go up inside and stay. Now, I could have probably glued it in place, but to be honest, I fought with the warp on that thing for long enough. I was just like, I'm done. So overall, this was a fun and frustrating build. It was fun at first, and then the frustration kicked in on final assembly. But overall, I think it looks pretty good, and for $16 it was worth the money. So here we are, another build video is done. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, of course, write those down in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleoutaguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and ring the bell so that you'll be notified when I post new videos. And while you're down there, you may as well hit the share and hype buttons, because that tells the YouTube algorithm I'm doing a good job and that you guys are enjoying my videos. Thanks for watching Scale Out a Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.